At this point, will you please stand and recite the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. At this time, we have a motion on the floor to approve item 1.3, tonight's agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept item 1.3, the approval of the agenda.
Thank you. Have a second. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Rock, Mr. Dolly, are there any changes for tonight's meeting?
No, thank you. None at all.
Board?
Well, there's one change for me. The cash reconciliation.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one for December will be coming next time around. So the one that's on here is the one from November.
So that's correct, right?
Yep,
Okay.
Okay.
no change, sorry.
That's okay. Board, are there any changes you think you'd like to add tonight?
No, ma'am.
All right, hearing nothing. Dr.
None for me, Madam Chair.
Can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Here.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0.
Can I ask everyone to turn on their mics too?
Oh,
Get your mics. Yeah, people listening.
That blue button.
We are so sorry. We forgot to turn the mics on, folks. At this point, we've done our roll call, our pledge of allegiance, and we have just approved tonight's agenda. We can please have a motion on the floor to approve item 1.4, the board minutes, meeting minutes for December 15th, 2021, our regular meeting, December 29th, 2021, our special meeting, and January 5th, 2022, our organizational meeting.
Madam Chair, I recommend that we approve the minutes for the following meetings, December 15th, 2021, December 29th, 2021, and January 5th, 2022.
Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, ma'am. Board, is there any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Dr. Rock, I would like to thank you for making the changes that we requested for the January 5th organizational meeting.
My pleasure.
All right, hearing nothing else, Board, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. We are now at our time in our agenda where we're going to go into public participation, which is item 1.5. And Mr. Jolly, you did send one item this afternoon, so would you like to share that with us?
Yes, I'd like to share. I did receive a public participation email from Miss Nicole Gordon. I'll read her public participation comment. She said, good afternoon. My name is Nicole Gordon. I am the district surrogate parent. My child is Nicholas Daly. He attends the elementary school and receives special education services. I have some concerns I would like to discuss. It's been brought to my attention that intervention specialists and their students have faced many challenges since the beginning of the school year, and I want to make sure that these challenges are known and addressed. My first concern is that intervention specialists do not have a classroom to service their children. Children are serviced in an open pod that allows for distractions. I assume the purpose of pulling children out of general education classes is to learn in a distraction-free zone, which cannot happen if people walk through the pod. Is there a resource room or classroom that the intervention team could utilize? Why is it not being used for those children if there is a room? I have also been aware that intervention specialist caseloads are large, resulting in disservice. If children with special needs are not getting the services required, how can we expect them to improve and meet their goals? I would like to know if the district plans to hire more intervention specialists this year. I have looked on the district website and did not see a job posting for the position. Why is there no posting for the job? Furthermore, I researched several surrounding districts. Some have special education committees and parent groups to provide parent, staff, workshops, etc. How can we get this started so parents can feel more supported by the district? Lastly, a parent mentor would be great for our schools to help some of these programs get started. Can the superintendent apply for these funds if the state budget allows? I look forward to hearing from you soon. There was a response to Ms. Gordon from Ms. Lindsay, our special ed director, who stated, do I need to go through the response, or I think it's appropriate?
If you can just provide a highlight, I think it would be important to
Yeah,
share.
so the highlight is that we did hire a special ed teacher, because there was, we have an influx of new students to the district. So we did hire a new special ed teacher. The pods are used as an option, especially in fifth grade. There's a lot of fourth and fifth graders, so we are using the pods. They are dividers. It is, and I'm not saying what the response is exactly, but it's minimal noise. Our motto is for inclusion. That's to push kids in, not to push them out. So it is done in the pods, but the motto is to push kids in. Our goal is to get more kids in regular ed, but they are pulled out. Those pods are not loud, but I understand the concern. Again, the space concern at the elementary school, I think the board is addressing that with our acquisition or with Mount Zion, because there is a space concern there. We don't have enough classrooms. We are full up to capacity, and we're using space, every space in the building. We took the community room, made that into a kindergarten classroom. So there's really no space there. So we're utilizing the space the effective way we can. And parent workshops and ongoing professional development is offered to staff. Our parent did respond, and she just wanted more information about the parent workshops. And then she also wanted to know how she could support parents too. So this dialogue will be ongoing and continuing as we move forward. So that was the first public participation that I received, and I want to make sure that Mrs. Gordon's concerns were heard and that they're being addressed.
Absolutely. And I think this is a good time for us to remind our constituents that if you're not able to attend our board meetings to verbally in person share your concerns, please feel free to visit the district website. There is a link that you can follow to email your public participation concern and comments to us, and Mr. Jolly will do just as he did with Mrs. Gordon's email that came in to us earlier this week. So thank you so very much for sharing. At this point in time, we are going to bypass item 1.6. We did add a new item back to our agenda, board updates, and this section will be used going forward when board members who are serving on committees have updates. When we added it back to the agenda this time, we put it up in section 1 so that as the superintendent and the treasurer are both providing their updates, we can provide ours as well at that time if they're applicable. We'll ask board members if your committees have met and you have any updates, please share it with Mr. Jolly and I that we will have your particular update on that next meeting. We do meet the Wednesday prior to our meetings, so if you get it to us the Tuesday prior to, we'll make sure it's on the agenda. All right?
You wanted a week, almost a little more than a week in advance.
Yes, so,
Gotcha.
because we prepare the agenda the Wednesday before, we do final prep on it because the agenda is already in process. So if you get it to us before that Wednesday, prior to the meeting, we'll make sure it's on the agenda.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Thank you. We are now going in item 1.7, Superintendent Report. And Mr. Jolly, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yes, thank you for the superintendent's report today. I'll have a few updates, a lot of exciting activities going on with the district. First, we'd like to recognize our Board of Education. This is School Board Recognition Month. All the board members were provided certificates of appreciation for all their hard work and dedication. They provided this community and district, and we all thank you for everything you've done. So on behalf of Dr. Rock, myself, and the district, we'd like to thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right, in the second update, our alumni coordinator has started her first, her real first project, which is Alumni Scholarship Challenge. This is being handled with the Warrensville Heights Alumni Foundation, a collaboration with them, which the money will go to the Alumni Foundation. And basically what this is that we're challenging alumni to provide a scholarship for a senior this year. The criteria is that it could be a minimum of $500. The alumni will set the criteria and who they dedicate the scholarship to. All funds will be facilitated through the Warrensville Heights Alumni Foundation, whose president is Mr. Lonnie Coleman. You remember the foundation was formed probably about 3 years ago. Ms. Carletta Fellows was the president at the time. Ms. Fellows has moved on to Washington, D.C., and Mr. Coleman has took over right now as the chairman of it. So basically what Mr. Coleman would do is get the funds, and then whoever the scholarship at the end of the year, he'll distribute the funds to whoever the criteria, the counselors will work with them, help them select the person. And then the foundation will distribute the funds.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
At the time when the scholarships are awarded, can we add that to the agenda to recognize those students?
Yes, and now, normally they do that to senior breakfast, but we can definitely start that as being part of our meetings too, to recognize the alumni and memorializing the alumni who are giving back to provide a scholarship to our scholars. And this came from a lot of people who always call and say they want to give back and do something. So now we just say, hey, here's your opportunity to give back. And it's not going to the district, it's going strictly to a senior. And prayerfully every year it grow and grow and grow. And at one point we hope that every senior leaving can get something from one of our alumni. That's the goal eventually. Because you always hear, we got alumni back to the 60s or 58 or something. And everyone always said they didn't have a vehicle to give back. So I hope and pray that this is their vehicle to do something back for the community and for the students moving forward. All right, next up is the Early Learning Childhood Center update. So as the board knows, a conditional purchase agreement has been signed. Right now, we're in the process of reviewing the conditions and estimates of work needed to upgrade. That's being done now. So I did send the board a letter that was provided to me from a group that has done it. A total cost of the project will be presented to the board. So in the next week, Jason and I and that group will do a walkthrough of the building to just verify what their costs are. And then once we have that total cost, we will bring that to the board. We would need a special meeting to go through all the costs, what it is, how much, and so forth. At that point, the board will consider the project costs and determine if they want to move forward. So if the board wants to move forward at that point, we will move forward. We will first start with the final purchase of the facility, so we'll complete that deal. And then the board will approve a construction manager. And then the project will begin tentatively on March the 22nd if all goes well. The estimated completion date will be the fall of 22. I do not believe it'll be ready for school to start though, because we are getting a late start. And you have the supply chain that's being held up, and there's a lot of things that will have to be done. But in talking to the various groups, they do believe it'll be done like November, like we started at the other school in November. It'll be November. So it'll be a little uncomfortability at the elementary school to start, but we'll be getting ready to make moves as soon as possible. Construction update, the middle and high school are on schedule. So middle high school is on schedule. I would love to take the board back there. It's a little cold right now, but when it's not cold, you'll be pleasantly surprised at the work that's being done. It's going up. The demolition of the middle school junior high has started. So pictures been out on the website. That's a picture. They started on that back hallway, second floor, first floor, that wing where the gym is. So that is the area they're working on. I did not get back over there today, but the work has started. I went this morning and looked, but it was similar to yesterday, but I know all day they're working, so it's probably a lot more down. Eastwood is slated to be demolished in February. So at Eastwood right now, they had a fence around it. They are finishing the abatement work at Eastwood right now. and it should be ready to go in mid-February. And then again, I'd just like to remind everyone that Westwood is scheduled to be demolished in the fall of 22. So I just want to keep that on everybody's radar because it is, that's what the plan is at this time. So I just want to help the community know and the board know that it's still scheduled to be demolished.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we still looking at 2023 or is it 2024 for the middle school, high school?
23.
It is.
It's 23. It's fall of 23.
Thank you.
Next one, John. On our next agenda, we will have to put, GetGo called us and donated $5,000 to the high school. So they just opened or they redid the car wash. They redid it. So part of what they do in the community is that when they redo or rebrand things that they want to give back to the community. So we have not received the money yet, but the money is coming. Just a $5,000 donation to do whatever the high school decides to do. I did send y'all, it was like last minute, it was supposed to be like this week, and they forced it that early week. So I know it's hard for the board to get there, but sometimes these things happen so fast. As soon as I get it to you, and then I try to get there too. So that is what happened with that. So $5,000 to high school, you should be receiving it soon. We have to fill out some papers and so forth.
Can I ask one more
Yes,
question?
ma'am.
So with this $5,000, we just talked about the scholarship for students. Can donations like that be earmarked towards students, or does it have to go towards, when I say towards, like towards students that are going off to school?
So this 5,000?
Yeah, or any donation in general?
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, Dr. Rock, can we earmark donations to the district for scholarships?
Not really. Usually the scholarships are going through the Alumni Foundation, so they have their own set of books and everything for a scholarship, and
What
usually
about
a
something like
scholarship.
this?
So I think something like this could offset the cost of prom and things that will cost kids money. You know what I'm saying? So that instead of the tickets being $100, we can reduce the cost to $50.
Right.
It could go toward graduation. So it can benefit the students at the high school. We can apply that because most of the time we do assist, not with prom per se, but always with graduation. We always are
Right.
supporting and supplying graduation. So I think it could go directly to the kids through student activities and supporting those and reducing costs on parents also.
Because
But
they
it-
didn't specify it has to be used a certain way,
No,
right?
it is no specification. You just come into the high school. And we did talk about using it to help the seniors this year because they haven't been able to fundraise, with COVID and so much things going on. They haven't been able to do as much as other classes.
But a donor can donate to the school district and say, I want this to be a scholarship. It would have to,
Right.
the donor would have to make the
Designate.
stipulation.
Have to specify it. Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
the next thing. So All-Star Weekend, our band will be very busy. They've been invited to everything. So Mr. Wilson will be taking our band to Mr. Purnell's Black Business Expo. So they'll be playing there. On Saturday, they got 2 events on Saturday and 1 event on Sunday. So they'll be going to the real Black Friday, really giving our district some real good exposure and our students exposure. We go to the next one. Our district will be hosting the Cleveland versus the World. They've rented our gym to have a game, which will be an all-star celebrity game at the high school. I do believe Mr. Swift was coming out of retirement to play in the game for what he shared with me. So that'll be at our high school. And then the last event would be, next one, John, at Brush High School. So our band will be playing there, the Greek Challenge. I think Mr. Roberts might be out there shooting a couple jumpers for that. But yeah, there'll be a Greek Challenge. So our band will just be playing at all these events, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to be part of something that hasn't happened here in like 20 years. I did miss another event that is the 100 Ties that will be at the high school on February 12th. The 100 Ties is a mentoring organization that helps young men develop etiquette. It's like a male etiquette program. And with that program, the lady's name is Joanne Smith, just started the program. She has a gathering every year we had it here like before COVID. It wasn't well attended that year. I don't know why they didn't have a big attendance. But basically, the culmination is that they teach every kid who comes out of Tata. So she has a line of speakers, motivational speakers that'll be here.
What date is that?
February 12th. It's the week before the AllStar weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it's a Saturday. And it's at the high school also.
Oh, okay.
The city of Warrensville donated $1,000 to their youth commission under future Senator Matt Howard. Councilman Matt Howard dedicated $1,000 to support this program on the 12th. And again, our schools are running effectively. We dealing with different situations at the school district today. We had a bus driver shortage. We had some buses running extremely late. Dr. Reynolds did a great job of informing parents. I did receive notice that they were appreciative that we gave the notice so that they could get their kids to school. The transition at the elementary school has went well. And the middle school is continuing to trudge along. The fields at the elementary at John Dewey are being updated on those who went by. Last year we got them done. They were done at a minimal level just to get them so that we could play. But now we have to get them so that the high school can play on them, which takes another level of preparation. The mounds got to be a little higher. It's just a whole nother level. They were rec league level last year. Now we have them Ohio Athletic Association level so that our teams can play. That concludes my report. Are there any questions at this time?
No, sir.
The only question that I have, and thank you for a good report, is going back to the scholarship for the Alumni Challenge. How are we publicizing that?
So it is on Facebook and Instagram and Facebook and things like that. We're going to also have the Warrensville Heights Alumni Association also push it out.
So the database that I know our new hire had built, is she going to leverage that to reach out to us as well?
Yeah, she's leveraging it. She still has not received the Warrensville Heights Alumni Association database, so she's going from the ground up. But once she gets that, and they're in communication to get that shared with her.
Okay.
It'll go out through that also.
Okay. Thank you.
I do have a question. Superintendent Jolly, as far as the capsule at the middle school, did we see anything or find anything with the capsule? I know some of the alumni of 1960s were asking.
Yeah, so I did ask the construction manager, Sean, and to look for it. I asked them to have people look for it as they move to the front of the building. So at this time, they have not found anything. But every day I am checking with them to see if they found the capsule.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is item 1.8, the treasurer's report. Dr. Rock, we're going to turn the meeting over to you, sir.
Thank you. Next slide, please, Jonathan. Okay, just a brief update, the treasurer's office staff update. One payroll position opened up around Thanksgiving, so it was a challenging time to do a hiring during the holidays and time off, with the break and everything. So, but we have some candidates that we're reviewing, and they've had a first round of interviews, and the assistant to the treasurer is picking up the pace to cover with some assistance from the budgetary staff. And then currently the budgetary staff, including myself, are in extensive cross-training for payroll to tighten up the gap in our office. And this is in-depth training. It's a 3-day course, and tomorrow's the 3rd day. The A site, this is another interesting thing, and that's why I just wanted to provide this update to you. Our A site, LGCA, is they're hosting the in-depth training for us, but they're utilizing staff from the Mansfield A site, and that's because at LGCA, all of their staff left. So I don't know how to put it. I listed it as low staff, but just from some coincidence, all their specialists went to either school districts or other A sites. So our A site LGCA had to collaborate with Mansfield, but I will say Mansfield's doing a great job of they're very true experts after going through 2 days of cross training and training with them today and yesterday and then tomorrow. So great A site there, but this might be something we might have to keep a pulse on because we need support. And these are like when you're filling out payroll or you're doing an accounting question on the system, you need to be able to reach out. So the one good thing is now we have the collaborators at Mansfield, so we reach out to them directly and they're helping us greatly. But this might be something we have to keep an eye on with LGCA. Next slide, please, Jonathan. And then I did want to talk about strategic finance tonight, in particular the Zion Church. Okay, we can still finance the Zion Church, and we can go and get certificates of participation and have enough to pay for the building, the existing building and land and property, and then also to have proceeds to make the renovations. And we could still do this, and after the total cost is established, the district can utilize certificates of participation. And again, we can use it for the entire cost of the project, which includes the initial costs and the improvements and renovations. Next slide, please. So the timeline of the events for this to occur this way, it's unique. And I had to research this and see what the pathway for this was. First, we have to establish a total budget, and then we can purchase the building and land utilizing general funds. So we can make that because we're going to have to move fast to exercise our purchase option. And then the board would establish a resolution for bond finance in order to make a payback of the initial cost, and then the look back is 90 days. So in other words, we can purchase the building, have this resolution established through bond counsel, and then we would have 90 days to go and get the financing. And then once we get the proceeds, those funds that we use to make the initial purchase on the purchase option, we can reimburse ourselves back, and then we could utilize the remaining proceeds to pay for the renovations and improvements to the building. Next slide, please. So the impact of this is it still preserves our carryover cash balance of the general fund. Also, it gives us a potential use of the carryover for phase 2, which is our concerns now with the overruns and current economy and supply chain challenges that we're experiencing there. It provides a conservative cash flow approach for the district funds, strategically utilizing our construction, permanent improvement, and general funds, all working together. And it's also an opportunity to utilize low interest rates right now. And then also, all of the finance will have the same features that we've done in the past with our municipal advisor putting those in, where we can pay off early and we can refinance early. And that's and just the refinancing alone on the last bonds, we saved $18 million and chopped off 5 to 6 years of our financing. So those features are very important for us, so we could put those in there. So again, what we could do is we could still cut the check and get the building for the Zion's Church and utilize our purchase option. Then we can have the board establish that resolution where we could have the look back, and then when we get the proceeds, we can reimburse ourselves back those proceeds, so then our cash returns to where we were before, and then we would be sitting on gross proceeds to do for renovations and improvements to the buildings.
Dr. Rock, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
What is the timing on this? I'm only asking because we know the Fed is looking to raise interest rates, and they're talking sometime
Yeah, they
in
are.
March.
That's current news today,
Yeah,
yes.
they're talking about doing it sometime in March. So how long would it take us to get this moving if we were wanting to take advantage of the lower rates that we're experiencing right now?
Well, it's moving fast now, so really what we need is, like Mr. Jolly said, that we're going to have a meeting pretty soon to review the costs.
Mm-hmm.
Once we do that, we could probably do these first couple steps we could all do in conjunction together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wanted to present this to you, and then I can start to get the wheels moving from bond counsel and, for all of that, so we can know that we want to move at lightning speed.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for allowing the question. and the
But I,
vote.
but I don't think the interest rates they're so low right now, even if they tick up, I don't think it will be, that much of a tick up where it really, it's not gonna, the interest rates are near zero and they're gonna still be near zero. They're gonna bump them up. But, and that's a fact. Yes, it might be a little bit higher, but they're still so low. So it's still, from a cash flow perspective, an advantage for the district.
Okay, thank you.
And to be strategic. And the next slide. So just to recap on the Horizon, finance of the new pre-K building, that's going to be moved very fast, and we're going to have that to where we have the best advantages for the school district. And then also hiring a new payroll clerk candidate, that'll be finalized. Completion of the payroll cross-training. And also on here, I wanted to put on, I didn't get to bring it tonight, but the board service fund summary, I'll have that forthcoming. And then I also wanted to thank the board for their dedication and service to the school community. Your service is greatly appreciated, and it's a pleasure to work with you and to do what's best for as we continue to grow and take the district where it's never been before.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you both for really good reports. At this time, we're going to jump on into the business portion of the agenda. And if I can please have a motion on the floor to approve by consent treasurer's report and financial recommendation. And we only have one item here. It's 2.1. It's a cash reconciliation.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept item 2.1, the cash reconciliation report for November 30th, 2021.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Board, is there any discussion or questions for Dr. Rock?
No, ma'am.
None, Madam Chair.
All right, hearing none. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda, we are at item 3. I need a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action administrative staff, and that's going to be items 3.1 through 3.3.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda the superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action administrative staff for items 3.1 through 3.3.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, is there any discussion on either of these 3 topics?
I can comment if I'd just like to just state, I appreciate the board considering the supplemental for Ms. Thompson. Ms. Thompson did take over all the duties at the elementary school as the head principal. This adjustment makes her, as I shared with the board, she has the most students in the district. She has more students than both the other schools combined.
Wow.
So this is, will have her in a very competitive salary. The second one is Ms. Irvin, who moved to assistant principal, just an adjustment in her salary. And the third is the hiring of Mr. Brian Loretz. Mr. Brian Loretz is comes highly recommended. He served as the security chief at Cleveland Heights. He's a former police officer, and he's already here doing a good job for us. So I believe that these 3 recommendations will benefit the district, and they're rewarding and bringing on some very good people that'll be assets to us.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Next up is item 4. If I can have a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action certificated staff. This is going to be item 4.1 through 4.3.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I move that we accept item number 4, as a consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action certified staff, items 4.1 through 4.3.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded, and want to see if there's any discussion on this section.
Yeah, I would like to just state that Gabrielle Davis is that intervention teacher that we mentioned
Oh, okay.
earlier. Also, I'd just like for you to pay some particular attention to the clubs these clubs at the elementary school. We had the Girl Scouts before, but if you notice, we have chess club now. Mr. Melvin Jones is doing the chess club for the elementary school, and then we have music club that is new also, to try to get kids into instrumental music earlier and also into the choir. So we're going down to the elementary school and building clubs up so that we get more participation. And I just want to make note of that
Good.
because I believe that is very important. And then the final one is coaching supplemental. That is one of our graduates who is now our assistant JV coach. So again, bringing our people, our graduates home to serve in crucial roles. And he's a young man too. I think he played with Miss Gator's son. So it's just good to see our future head coach on our staff now. If he does things the correct way and learns, that he could be our coach for a long time.
Awesome.
I know, Jamie.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he posted on social media. He was really excited about being able to come back home and work with the district, so.
Yeah, it's nothing like being able to come back home and
home,
serve. Yeah, nothing like it. And I'm so excited that we're in a position where we're able to do this and bring our young people back. So, Mr. Jolly, thank you and your team very much for making sure the doors are open and we do pave a way for our graduates to come back and support the district. If there's no further discussion, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes,
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is item 5, and if I can please have a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda the superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action classified staff. And that's going to be, again, item 5.1 through 5.3.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve by consent agenda items 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. Board, is there any discussion, or Mr. Jolly, is there anything that you'd like to add here?
Yes, I know Tylen is on this list. Tylen had to go back to school. His schedule could not, he couldn't work full-time and go to school. So Tylen is going back to school so he can complete his degree. We hope that once Tylen is completed, he'll come back and he'll be a teacher when he comes back.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, Tylen left because his school schedule couldn't support him working full-time. The lunch aides, we missed the lunch aides when we did when we raised the other. So lunch aides was added to that so we can get more lunch aides. And then the human resource generalist, that is to replace Tasha. We have hired someone for the interim, and this person's to replace Tasha fully. So that is, those are those three.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Any questions or comments, board? Hearing none, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
yes,
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is item 6, and if I can please have a motion to approve by consent agenda superintendent's recommendations and presentation for personnel and programs, and this is going to be items 6.1 through 6.4. And I do understand we've got 2 policies on here, and I know you're going to speak to them, Mr. Johnson. So if I can get the motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we move item number 6 on our consent superintendent recommendation and presentation for personnel and programs, 6.1 through 6.4.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Mr. Jolly, I'm sure you're going to speak to item 6.1.
Yes, so 6.1, the policy, these are standard annual policies that we have to pass for part of our Title I budget, the family involvement, parent involvement policy, just stating that we do have parent involvement. and then the homeless students and how we deal and handle with homeless students. These are annual. We are about to have a desk review for Title I. So we need, normally we would get these done a little earlier, but we didn't. So we asking the board to consider these both tonight. I did send it to the board and share it with them where we are with those. 6.2 is our annual course of study that we approve every year. 6.3 is cycle breakers. This is a new program that Mr. Wilson has bought that we're using our wellness funds. And basically what this is using Judge William Dawson, the brother of Wade Dawson, to come in and do workshops with our students. It's 12 weeks of workshops. We'll be targeting our freshmen. Again, those are key students who, once they make bad decisions, it's very hard for them to catch up. And then the last one, 6.4, is the voucher resolution. And this is for our district to join the voucher lawsuit, in which we'll pay $2 per student, and we'll get this in tomorrow. We'll send it in tomorrow. And if those that know, there's a lawsuit across the state to fight against vouchers. Vouchers cost our district millions of dollars over the last, 10, 15 years. At 1.5 million a year was going toward vouchers. So us participating in this is natural, and it will assist with the process of I hope eventually eliminating vouchers. They do have a new bill, and I know Ms. Gator is familiar with it, called the backpack bill that they're trying to pass. And basically what the backpack bill is, it makes every school district open enrollment. And the kids will, wherever they go, the money goes with them. And that's something that I believe this resolution and others will fight against, that, which is the destruction of public education. Because that money can go to private schools, they go to parochial schools, they go anywhere. Which, our taxpayers pay for our kids to go here, and if people make the decision to go somewhere else, then they pay. That's how it generally has been until recently, when people want to attack public education.
All righty. Any questions, comments under this section, board?
Just I guess a comment. So I see that we refer to this as volume 36, number 1, the policy. Do we have to reference that policy, that version?
Where it came from, no.
It was confusing to me. I was thinking we were behind, so I'm thinking if we could not list the volume number and just state the policy.
The policy. I agree with that. So we can amend that.
You don't have to, I don't
Well,
think
I
it's
have a question though.
necessary to
Isn't that
amend
how
it.
the packet comes out though? I know the cover sheet used to provide the volume number, the volume and the number.
But it
So
comes
I'm
from
just
that.
asking.
I'm sorry, it does come from that volume. But we're not approving the whole volume.
No,
We
it's just
approve
those two.
Those
Just
two.
Right.
those two.
Right.
But they always have changes on
Right.
different policies. So that's why I'm saying we don't necessarily need to reference the volume. Yeah, I don't think we.
Oh, yeah, no issue. I was just asking because I know the cover letter typically came. As long as we have the policy numbers, I think we're fine.
Yep, I agree.
Aye.
But I don't think we need to amend anything. I think it's fine. I was just saying for future reference.
Aye.
Are you agreeing, Ray? Is that the I? All right, if there's nothing else, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, board. We are coming into the final stretch of our meeting. We don't have any unfinished business. There's no new business. Dr. Rock, is there any correspondence?
No, there is not.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jolly, any announcements for the district?
I don't have any announcements. Tomorrow we should be okay with our buses. I have not heard anything otherwise, so we should be fine tomorrow.
Okay.
Madam Chair, tomorrow at 11, we will have that meeting for the United Committee for Urban Boards that they're trying to put together with those 10 associations tomorrow at 11 with Virginia, Ohio, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, and that's 4 other ones. So I will let this board know what comes of that meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Okay, and that's the meeting that will determine where those 10 districts will go on a national level.
Correct.
Okay.
And the
It'll be
plan is,
interesting to hear.
I might have stated before, it's in August that they're trying to do it in Chicago. If we can put something together, they're trying to run it off a format of a National School Boards Association, something like a cube, but it won't be a cube, but I'll know how they'll price out the associations in each individual district.
Okay, that'll be interesting to hear.
Okay. And if we can say a prayer for Mr. Ed Chambers, he's going through a little health crisis right now.
Absolutely. He's done quite a bit for the district and our community. So definitely keep him lifted.
Madam Chair, we didn't really do the update. Can I just give a really quick update on the handbook?
Sure, yes.
Yeah,
please.
so Earl and I went through and, made the last little bit of changes. I'm having some formatting issues, but Mr. Jolly put me in touch with Savannah. Because at this point, any other changes are going to be up to us.
Okay.
So hopefully, I know she wasn't in today, but we're going to connect probably, if not this week, then sometime next week, so she can help me with the changes. It's accepting the changes and then making sure that the table of contents lines up correct with, inserting the norms and the protocols and the principles. So we're like 95% done, and I'm sure she can knock it out. She said she's pretty sure she can.
This is great. This will be a huge achievement for us.
Yep.
Huge achievement. That'll be one more of the old goals that we set for ourselves a couple of years back that we're accomplishing. So
Yep, I'm excited.
great
So
job,
thank
board.
you.
Absolutely. And great job to the two of you for moving this forward for us.
For all of us, this was definitely a group effort, so, we really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other announcements, if I can please have a motion on the floor to adjourn the Wednesday, January 26, 2022 regular school board meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. May I have a second?
And I second that.
I